Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Statement Games Live. My name is Nathan. I'm joined with Marc. Hey, Marc, so why don't you tell everyone why they should be listening to this show?
How's everybody doing today? Welcome to episode number 4. Quick recap here. The reason why you should be checking us out and following us is that we're putting on a show where we're kind of like reviewing different aspects of a different form of fantasy sports called Statement Games. This is a free-to-play game, and although it's kind of like free, we're going to kind of like walk you through different elements of features on a weekly basis and how you can actually win some real prizes and maybe even some cash.
Nice. Very good. So don't forget, subscribe to Statement Games, the YouTube channel. Get the show plus other great content, and give the show a thumbs up and a comment about what you liked or how we can improve Statement Games Live. So with that, Marc, what's your thoughts for this week? What do you got for us?
You know what? It's something that I've actually been thinking about here, and it's something that's kind of like very rare. Me being a New York Giants fan and you being a Detroit Lions fan, although technically, I guess the Giants are playing a little later on this evening. Statement Games Live will probably drop at some point, either late on Thursday or early on Friday. But Giants are coming off a win, first win of the season. Of course, the Lions have also won a game. So my thought is this: if I kind of like put a number, let's say 2.5, would you go over or under 2.5 in terms of the number of weeks both the Giants and the Lions will win on the same football week? We've gotten one in the books, so it's got to happen another 2 times in order for that to hit. Got to pick, gun to a head. This is my thought of the week. Giants and Lions both winning on the same football week. What do you think?
Oh, I so want to say yes. But I'm going to go with the no. I don't think that they can pull
Let's
off.
Mark that down. This is recorded.
One more.
Ah, man, it's so embarrassing and sad, but this is the life that we've chosen. I'd like to think it would happen an additional 2 times, but in reality, it's probably not. We'll see what happens.
It's a big thing. It's a big ask because it's not just saying like one team or the other team getting a win, because I think that both teams can probably get a couple more wins this season, but like to do it
Exactly.
at the same time.
It's the same week.
That's a tough parlay.
The challenge. Especially, hey, you know what? I just kind of like spring this on you. We're not looking at schedules and things like that. We're looking at it, just from an eyeball perspective here. I mean, even if you were the most optimistic Giant fan, 4 more wins for the season, 5, kind of like max, kind of like hovering around that,
you could still win that division,
and that's being generous. I actually was listening to the radio today here. They were actually kind of like outlining a couple of scenarios where I think it was like a 25% probability or 25% kind of like chance. Actually, I don't think that's correct. I think they were talking about a simulator running out the remainder of the NFC East schedule. And I think it was like a 25% chance that one of these teams could win the division with 4 wins.
Yeah, it could happen.
The points that they've put up this season, the points that each team has given up. They've run through a simulation. I could be mistaken here, but I do think I'm right on this one here. Whatever that simulator was here, they did kind of like show that there was a 25% probability that one of these teams that's got no more than
it's a tough
1.5, 2 wins.
Could
win this division at four wins.
Yeah, it's definitely tough with that division because all of those teams are not good. Cowboys losing Prescott and Andy Dalton is not looking like the replacement. You've got the Giants being the Giants. Washington with down 2 quarterbacks now. Kyle Allen is kind of sort of in and out. And then that leaves Philly, which is, I mean, I guess they could put it together, but they're losing receivers, they're losing players left and right.
Offensive linemen.
It's just real tough. But speaking of something that's tough, winning a tournament and getting free jersey or whatever you're also giving out with all these other sponsors. So you've got a list here for me of the people that have won these tournaments this week and gotten the free swag.
Let's give kind of like a little shout out. Starting with your tournament here. So for last week's Los Angeles Rams versus San Francisco 49ers Sunday Night Football game here, we were able to award a jersey to Boiler 24. So we're actually still waiting for Boiler 24 to claim kind of like that prize, but I'm sure that they will do so in the next day or so. So big shout out to Boiler 24. And then for the Monday Night Football Arizona Cardinals versus Dallas Cowboys game, given the different conditions that we have for this weekly tournament here, this is actually the first time that we're awarding a NFL jersey of somebody's choice under the NFL 32 sponsored tournament, which usually just takes place on Monday nights. So big shout out and congratulations to P. Diddy 45, who was the winner of that contest. And just another little quick kind of like thank you to the podcast called Sideline Squib. Great intro song to that podcast. Those guys are up out of the actually your neck of the woods here,
really?
Your hometown, not the Connecticut area, but in the Detroit area. Great time. Had an opportunity to be a guest on there, kind of like past podcast. We ran like a little bit of a promotion for the first Monday night game, which took place between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Once again, I was willing to come to the table with $250 with somebody that could, to anybody who can go 10 for 10 in that tournament. And we only had one person that came really, really close. So a little shout out to end user Ryan Lerman, who unfortunately didn't go 10 for 10, but came pretty damn close. Went 9 for 10 with their picks and just literally missed out on their 1 point pick, or else that he would have had a perfect score of a 55 going 10 for 10.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's good to hear these guys, winning and getting their jerseys and everything. It's awesome, and we enjoy on the IDP guys drawing that name each week on our show. So, if you're listening to this, check out the IDP guys as well.
Yeah, and for that segment, I know that you kind of dropped the link, and I think it was yesterday's or the day before. It's kind of like Twitter post here. So I liked and shared that on our timeline here. So for a little glimpse on that segment, just click on that link, whether it's the @IDP guys kind of Twitter handle or the @StatementGames Twitter handle. You can check out that little stream to give you a little bit of a sense on the point of your weekly podcast and your show on when that drawing takes place and when that name is picked. And as we always talk about, this is the 4th week in a row here, and where the winner of traditionally the Sunday Night Football game, and we'll get into that like a little bit here. The winner will be announced on this show moving forward. But for the most part here, it is exclusively dropped on the IDP weekly podcast, which usually drops late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning.
Yeah, definitely the first place you can get it. So, but let's talk the Statement Games feature of the week. You prepared one for us this week here, Marc. Let's go into it.
Yeah, sure. So it's more just like a couple like little additional short announcements. As a startup and as a kind of like a technology platform or a gaming kind of company, just like everybody else, we have certain challenges. So just a quick little update here. From Wednesday of last week through Tuesday of this week here, our email notification or our event notification system was down. So we finally kind of got that resolved. So just wanted to make an announcement that event notifications are kind of back up. And basically what we utilize that for is to let people know that the game that they're playing in, the scoring has been completely updated. We'll also send you a notification, letting you know what place you finished in certain kind of tournaments. So hopefully, those notifications will start coming through. A big kind of apology to some of our newer members here. One of the ways in which you can actually sign up for Statement Games is basically by submitting an email address and creating an account that way. And in doing so here, we send you an email back, just basically giving you the ability to verify like that email. So those verification emails weren't going through. So we were causing some heartache for some of our newer players. But as mentioned here, we were able to get that stuff resolved. So if anybody has any additional problems with, staying updated with the Statement Games platform, or, just getting the alerts that they need to stay informed of how they did in certain tournaments, please let me know. But that feature should be fixed and resolved, and we're good to go moving forward.
Yeah, I got your Thursday night email today, and I had noticed that. Yeah, I had noticed that
we missed last week.
Yeah, last week's different emails, because you always send. There's always a few things, either updates on a contest or contest coming up. Just periodic emails that I get, and I noticed they were missing. So that's cool that you took care of it, and it's. I didn't even really fully realize it until you said that you had an update about it. So.
Yeah, so we got that resolved. And just also kind of on a side note here, our community is great. I get constant feedback all the time from players letting me know what they like, what they don't like, so on and so forth. And one of the biggest complaints that I actually get is, hey, you know what, can you run more games? Can you make the scoring system a little bit more of a scoring system that's kind of like notifying me of the scores of my contests or in games, pretty much like in real time or as the game is playing out here. So it's a pretty cool, special announcement, in that the company actually is moving forward with a great partnership and a great deal with Sport Radar. Sport Radar is one of the more prolific data companies in the sports data and gaming industry. They are the official data provider of the NFL. So basically, through that relationship with them, we could further automate the Statement Games gaming engine as well as our scoring system, so that users do have the ability to play more games, and then also have the ability to see how they're performing within these games pretty much in real time. It's going to take some time for us to get everything integrated, test everything out here, further develop algorithms. But hey, you know what? It's a step in the right direction. It's a big milestone for the company. It's something we're excited about.
Yeah, no, it definitely is exciting to hear, especially as an end user, that, I don't know, I like to check in and be like, hey, where am I at? How close am I? What's going right? What's going wrong? And just kind of checking in and seeing what's up with those games. So it's cool to see. Excited for it, for sure. So let's talk some nuggets of truth. You've got
all right.
You got something that I'm pretty interested in discussing here, because it's from.
I want to get your take on this as well, and this is more. Let's see here. Look, I've been having kind of a good week here, so I don't want to make it, sound like I'm griping, but that's exactly what I'm doing. I have an axe to grind, so I'm gonna just kind of throw this out there. I'd like to kind of get your thoughts and your feedback on what it is that I'm kind of talking about here. And as I can say this, I can see that I've actually frozen a little bit. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're here.
All right, cool. All right. So, as part of the process that I actually go through, I always try and create these little, joint ventures or joint partnerships. And the way that I actually do that is by obviously networking with guys like you over at the IDP guys and other kind of podcasts and things like that. And it always kind of gets thrown back at me, and where, all right, you know what, maybe somebody isn't necessarily that interested in the Statement Games platform, but they want to sell me some type of advertisement or some type of podcast read or promo spot on their podcast. And I'm always open to exploring any kind of opportunities that you possibly can throw at me. But the one thing that I do kind of like, look for is that you have kind of like, a media kit. If you're trying to sell or pitch me on something here, I want to know what your numbers look like. I want to know that you've actually taken the time to, put together a couple of different rational thoughts. It doesn't necessarily have to be a long, drawn out kind of like, pitch deck or anything like that here. But I want to see that you put some thought behind it and that I'm actually making an educated decision. And if you don't necessarily have something like that you can share with me on numbers that your show is doing, maybe a couple of different testimonials of some of the other sponsors that you might have on your network here. Automatically, if you don't have something like that, there's like a little bell that goes off in the back of my mind that says, hey, you know what, these guys aren't necessarily real, and that there's better opportunities and where I can actually be spending my marketing dollars. So my gripe for the week is don't try and sell me on any type of podcast or any type of advertisement if you don't necessarily have a media kit. So as another business owner, I just wanted to throw that out there and get your thoughts on what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, no, it's actually exciting to talk about because as someone who's kind of had to teach himself a lot of this stuff, and I will say that I've heard of media kits before, having a journalism background and understanding the language of what you're talking about, but coming into the podcast sphere or the space and kind of just finding my footing and everything. I still remember when you first reached out to me 2 years ago saying like, hey, let's work a deal. Let's do a sponsorship type situation. And in my head, the bell goes off. What can I get? Like, is he wanting to pay me to like talk about his show? And you had brought up the media kit thing, which I was like, didn't know I needed. And I feel like that is something that you look at all of these amateur podcasts, the guys that are just like, hey, I like to talk about football and let's do a show. They don't know the business end and what, from the perspective of someone looking to buy advertising space, would want to know. And so I can understand your frustrations on that because I'm sure, especially in the sports media, most people aren't going to know. And from a podcaster's perspective, everyone thinks they're the fantasy footballers with 3 million
Correct.
downloads a day, and that they warrant, just money being thrown at them. So I think it's important. And to be honest, to this day, I still haven't really fully put together that media kit, although, with time I could have that together. And it's something even myself, think that I'm fairly successful at this point with, close to 150,000 downloads over the course of my my show's lifespan. That, it's an important thing to keep in mind and to do. And as a podcaster, we have to think from a sponsor's point of view.
Yeah, maybe we could actually expand upon that topic in a future episode, and we would just kind of walk through, in my opinion, having 20 plus years of various different advertising and marketing experience, some of the key metrics that you should be hitting on or homing in on that can be utilized as selling points when you're trying to drive or generate revenue for your podcast or your streaming sports talk radio show.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to, continue to talk about that and all these different topics that we're going to kind of be merging, business sides, different sides of the topic on in business here. So speaking of different sides, we had a game that went on last Sunday. Do you want to review the Rams versus 49ers game?
All right, yeah. So, obviously this past Sunday, we had the Rams versus the San Francisco 49ers, 24-16 win for the San Francisco 49ers. Great bounce back win for the team. Garoppolo had 3 first half touchdown passes versus the Rams. Big turnaround when considering that Garoppolo was benched in the second half of the Miami Dolphins game. The team was actually kind of blown out by the Dolphins. But some other kind of key points. Kittle 7 passes for 109 yards. Good to see him kind of get back on track. The San Francisco defense, which when they did play the Dolphins, gave up 436 yards and 43 points in that blowout loss to the Dolphins. So looks like San Francisco might not going to be back on track here. The one interesting point, although we talked a little bit about this before the show here, was just really odd. Neither team, neither the 49ers or the Rams, had a sack in this game. So I think when we take a look back on how we were actually breaking down this game via last week's show, a couple different points we were spot on with, especially when it comes to the under 50.5, and then some other points here and where looks like we were just kind of off. But hey, those are the breaks here. It's football.
Yeah.
This is why it's so hard to kind of predict.
Oh, absolutely. And so last week we ranked third with 29 points. We got 4 wrong. So we got
6 for 4,
our 9 and our 8
points,
and our 5 and our 4. So you're going to go over our picks, but the one combined pick that we got wrong was the Rams defense over 1.5 turnovers.
Yeah.
So,
well, what are you gonna do? But hey, it's still good enough for third place. So we still finished up. We still finished in the money, which means that we beat out the. I guess we won. I guess in this particular tournament, we won 5 coins. So that's the good news. So with regards to our picks, I did not do as well as I did last week. I couldn't continue the momentum that I generated for the first week here. So I actually had Robbie Gould over 1.5 field goals. He finished with 1. So that one of the 4 picks that we got wrong here was on the account of me. And we can actually say the same thing for Sloman. I had the over 1.5 field goals. He finished up with 1. But the one thing that I did have correct here is I did pick the under 50.5 total points. So when you have kind of like a total score of 40 points, that was well under the 50.5. So 1 for 2, truck it up, and looking forward to moving on to the next week here. When taking a look at your picks, you definitely carried the weight for this week. 2-1 record. The ones that you really kind of nailed is that hey, you know what, you like the 49ers plus the 3.5 points, then wound up winning the game outright. Like I said, good bounce back win. They needed it on home, primetime football, embarrassing loss the week before, so that was a good call by that one. You sneaked out Kittle over 6.5 receptions. He finished with 7, so that was correct. And I guess we kind of gave you credit for picking the LA defense over 2.5 sacks, which turned out to be incorrect. So we didn't score any points on that. But overall record of 2-1, combined with my record of 1-2, puts us at a 3-3 mark combined picks for the week, which was good enough for third place in the tournament that we played in, just not good enough for that coveted first place spot.
Yeah, unfortunately, but you know what? That happens, and I still don't understand how there was no sacks in that game. I can understand San Francisco with their busted line, but Rams, I mean, they've got good players, they've got a really good line, and I don't know. That is what it is. But well, you know what? It's time for this week's Making Picks. So IDP, guys, is your #1 source for non-standard fantasy football, and they are our sponsor for the Bucs vs. Raiders NFL tournament on Statement Games. Play the contest and visit idpguys.org and step up your fantasy game. So let's talk a little bit about this coming game, which is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Las Vegas Raiders. Both teams are coming off of big upset wins. The Raiders 2 weeks ago with Kansas City, and then they went into their bye. And the Bucs last week stomping on Aaron Rodgers and keeping him to 16 total completed passes for like 160 yards. That's just not Aaron Rodgers' game. So Tampa Bay, their defense is looking solid. And Brady, I mean, Brady has always had his down games, but when he is on, look at him just go right through the new the Green Bay Packers. And then on the flip side, you've got the Raiders who, everyone coming into this year said Kansas City, known Super Bowl possibly repeat champs. And look at the Raiders coming in, stomping on them in a foot race to the end, and able to, keep up with that explosive offense. They were able to stop that Kansas City offense a few times and get them off the field. So it's looking like the Bucs versus the Raiders is going to be an explosive affair where this Bucs defense, I think, is going to play a part, but I think the Raiders are going to be able to get over the hump, and it'll be a close game in my opinion, but it's going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah, I kind of I agree with a lot of those kind of points. Before I guess we get into my take here, let's just do kind of like a little house cleaning, first. So obviously you can play this game at StatementGames.com. There's also apps that complement the StatementGames.com website, and just so that you kind of know about playing in the IDP guys tournament, which is the Bucs and the Raiders game here. You can play as many contests as you possibly can enter into. What we actually do is, of all the who win a contest for this specific game, keep in mind you're playing in leagues of 12 people, so you're one of 12 people, and all of the contest winners will be entered into a drawing, and you will be selecting a name out of a hat of all the contest winners, and the person you actually draw out of the hat, in addition to any coins that you actually can win on Statement Games, coins that can actually be exchanged for a cash gift card here, in conjunction between the partnership between Statement Games and the IDP guys, the person that we draw out of the hat here is going to win an NFL jersey of their choice. It doesn't have to be a Raiders jersey or a Buccaneers jersey. It's, pick a jersey of any active player within the NFL, and that jersey is yours. Now, usually we do this for Sunday night, football, and at the beginning of the week, the Bucs Raiders games was the Sunday night football game for week number 7. Given COVID and different players testing positive for COVID, it looks like that game has been moved from the Sunday night game to I think it's a 4 o'clock or a 4:25 game on Sunday. By the time this show kind of airs, and as we get closer to Sunday, it could move again, and where it moves from Sunday to Monday. So just keep an eye out for the on the schedule. But regardless of when that game is actually played, that's the tournament that you actually want to play in. So like I said here, usually we run the promos with the IDP guys here for Sunday Night Football. It just looks like for this week, and let's hope for this week only, that it looks like it's not really the Sunday night game. So that's what I wanted to just add about that. But other than that, here I'm lockstep kind of with you on a lot of the points that you actually made. A lot of points. I actually got some points from the Tampa Bay defense last week, picking off Roger, a pick 6 for Rodgers. Looks like the Raiders can score some points. They went into Kansas City. They put up points. They had the bye week. They're well rested. Being that Gruden once coached kind of Tampa Bay, that he wants to put up a pretty good performance against his old organization. So yeah, I like offense and I like points in this game, and that's going to be kind of my theme heading into, I don't know, what do you want to call this, the quasi Sunday night football game,
right?
Whatever you want to call it, for the Buccaneers Raiders game here. My theme is going to be points.
Yeah, no. So let's get in here and look at what we've already placed. So we got Mike Evans first off at number 1, the lowest. We have him under 66.5 yards receiving. This was something, first off, if you look at the injury report, Mike Evans is on it. He was limited in practice, and with, I think it was an ankle problem. And he only had one catch in the last game for 10 yards. So it looks like he's got a problem. And while I think he will still play, I don't think he's going to be the normal Mike Evans, and I think he's going to be under 66.5 yards receiving. But this also brought up an interesting topic that Marc wanted to talk about of when you pick props with a specific player, they have to play for you to get credit. Marc, do you want to go into that a little more?
Yeah, so it's just the way that the system is set up and designed right now, and this is where we can actually improve on as a company through the relationship with Sports Radar. But as of right now, it's almost the onus is on the player to, and when I say player, I mean the end user who is playing this game, to basically pick player props here of players who are going to be playing in this game. So if Mike Evans plays and our hunch is that, hey, you know what, he's not 100%, we could be getting a pretty significant break by taking the under 66 and a half yards, kind of like the receiver. However, if he doesn't play, the system is going to mark both Mike Evans statements incorrect. That's just the way that the system is set up kind of like, right now. So we are gambling like a little bit, and the gamble is that of course, we don't believe that he is 100%. We do believe that he is going to play. Of course, we reserve the right to change our opinions up until about like 5 minutes before game time. So if the injury or an updated injury report comes out tomorrow or on Saturday, and it's determined that Mike Evans isn't playing here, of course, you and I will jump into the system and modify or change that pick. But as of right now, we're taking a flyer on Mike Evans under the yards receiving total, but we have that pretty low within our pick'em selections, and where we just have it listed as our number one pick, which would only give us 1 point if that pick became correct anyway.
Yeah, we're only wagering 1 point on that, so I feel pretty okay with it. Kind of either way, taking that gamble. At our 2 points wager, Darren Waller under 5.5 receptions. I went with this one for the fact that Waller doesn't he gets a lot of solid receptions where he goes for good yak, yards after, and he gets those yards, those big yards, but he really doesn't get a lot of receptions in a game. They have so many weapons. Hunter Renfrow is kind of evolving and coming up. Josh Jacobs, they got a great run game, and Jacobs also catches passes out of the backfield. So Waller, while he gets really good receptions where he's able to run down the field, he doesn't get a lot of them. So I think at 5.5, that's on the high side for him. So I like the under. I think he's still going to be part of the game. I think he's a good tight end, but I think that he's not utilized as much as this represents. And then at the 3 spot, this was one that you had suggested, Marc. Nelson Aguilar and Hunter Renfrow over 7.5 receptions. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I just think that the Raiders are going to be able to move the ball. Obviously, those two wide receivers are intricate parts of the Raiders kind of offense. It's not like I'm kind of asking for a lot here. It is kind of like combined. So between Aguilar and Renfrow, we're just looking for them to literally not one person, but both of them kind of combined. Right. Get 8 total receptions here. So I don't think we're asking for a lot in this situation here. You could be looking at a scenario and where it's very realistic that Oakland could be behind by a score or 8 points late in the game here, which actually means that they need to throw the ball here. So I think it's a smart pick, and that's why
absolutely.
we took it. Now that I actually think about it, maybe we should put a little bit higher, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, and then the 4th one here we've got is Tom Brady under 285.5 yards passing. We both kind of thought about this, and That's a lot of yards for Tom Brady. While this is going to be a high-scoring game, both teams have solid run games. The last game the Bucs played with Green Bay, Brady didn't have even 200 yards, and they had 100 yards on the ground, and they were, successful at winning. So I think that Brady is going to be relying on that. Brady does well when he relies on that run game, and I think that because of how high this number is, I'm easily taking the under.
I think we both agree kind of on that one.
Yeah. So with that, Mark, what's your first pick?
All right, first pick here. I'm going to go in the opposite direction of last week here. I do think points will be plentiful in this game. Gruden's had basically 2 weeks to prepare. Playing at home, I think the Raiders are a little underrated here from an offensive perspective. And I'm just going to go ahead and take something that's simple and just basically lock in the total points over 53.5. All right, so I'm also going to take a shot, just see if I can get some revenge from the debacle of the kicker picks from last week. So this is a pick that's more out of spite more than anything else here. So although I like points here, I do think we're going to get some production out of the kicker prediction. So I'm going to take Ryan Scopey over 1.5 field goals.
All right.
And then I'm also kind of expecting. I'm expecting a lot of passes to be thrown by Carr and the Raiders here, but I just got a funny feeling that Josh Jacobs breaks one. So it's not like I'm asking him to rush for 115 yards or break kind of 100 yards here. So I think the over 75 rushing yards is a realistic play, and I'm going to be taking a flyer on Josh Jacobs over 75.5 rushing yards.
All righty. So I'm going on the same theme, and I like Derek Carr to have over 1.5 touchdown passes in a high-scoring game. That's not a lot to ask for, and he's put up multiples in the past. Where do you want it to slot in there?
I think we can leave it right there.
All righty. So with that, I'm also going to go on the flip side, and we're talking tight ends again. Gronkowski only needs
tight ends, yeah.
only needs
Back on
4 receptions to make this over possible. You like it there at 6, or you want me to shove it down at 5?
You can leave it at 6.
All right. And finally, I'm part of the IDP guys. I have to have a defensive pick here. So I like the Bucs defense to have over 2.5 sacks. They have a great line. Shaq Barrett there. There's definitely a solid chance of this happening. So I'm going with Tampa Bay Bucs defense over 2.5 sacks. Lock that in at 5. Lock this game in. There it is.
All right. So we got a little time left here. I just wanted to make another quick announcement. Is that although we're just getting started here, we just kind of wrapped up and completed episode number 4. We are going to be taking a short little break. We'll probably be back in a couple of weeks with episode number 5, and the reason for that is that you're actually on hiatus. You're getting married.
Yep.
pretty
I'm getting
quick.
Married. Yeah,
in a couple of days. So once again, congratulations, and best of luck with to you and your new bride. And we'll catch up with you when you get back.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's never good to be a football content creator and have a wedding in the fall, but hey, that's what we decided on. So now I've got to go on break everywhere and stuff. But when I come back, man, we're gonna hit it hard and do this every week, and everyone should be watching and making sure that they sign up for StatementGames.com. You get 60 free coins with a new account, and then you can spin the wheel every day for more coins to just keep playing those games, win coins, and possibly win NFL jerseys of your choice. Follow on social media at Statement Games, Facebook, Twitter, it's all the same. Statement Games ID, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel that you're currently watching, Statement Games, and make sure that you're getting this and all the great content that gets put out on that channel. But with that, Marc, sad to say it's going to be a couple weeks before I see you again, but I'm looking forward to getting back and keeping this show going.
All right. We'll catch up with you later, man.
Yep. See you, man.